The Concept of Mind by Gilbert Ryle. The myth of the ghost in the machine. Ryle critiques the Cartesian dualist view that the mind is a non-physical entity, ghost, inside the body, machine. He argues this is a category mistake, treating the mind as if it were a separate substance rather than a set of dispositions and behaviors. Category mistakes and misleading language. Philosophical errors arise from misclassifying mental concepts as if they belong to the same logical category as physical objects. Ryle shows how language misleads us into thinking the mind is a thing rather than a way of describing capacities. Dispositions versus episodic acts. Mental states, like intelligence or belief, are not hidden inner events but dispositions, tendencies to behave in certain ways. Ryle contrasts these with specific actions, showing that the mind is better understood through observable patterns. The rejection of introspection as privileged access. Ryle denies that self-knowledge comes from an inner theater of private mental events. Instead, we learn about our own minds similarly to how we understand others, through interpreting behavior and speech. Volition and the will. The idea of volitions as secret mental causes of actions is dismissed. Ryle argues that willing is not a separate internal act but part of the way we describe intentional behavior. Emotions and feelings. Emotions are not purely internal sensations but complex dispositions involving behavior, context, and social responses. Ryle challenges the notion that feelings alone define emotional states. Imagination and pretending. Imagining is not about viewing mental pictures but about simulating or enacting scenarios. Ryle distinguishes between different uses of imagination to avoid conflating it with perception. Intellect and understanding. Thinking and understanding are not ghostly processes but skills demonstrated through performance. Ryle rejects the idea that intellectual operations require an occult mental machinery. Self-knowledge and self-deception. Knowing one's own mind is not a matter of introspection but of honest self-assessment through behavior. Self-deception arises from conflicting dispositions rather than hidden inner truths. The mind as a set of abilities. Ryle concludes that the mind is not a separate entity but a way of talking about capacities, tendencies, and public behaviors. Mental concepts are rules for describing how people act, not references to an invisible realm. Ryle's The Concept of Mind rejects Cartesian dualism's ghost in the machine as a category error, redefining the mind through observable behavior and dispositions. By dismissing introspection as privileged and stressing mental states' public nature, he pioneers a behaviorist approach, shifting philosophy from metaphysical speculation to practical analysis of action. This remains a landmark 20th-century critique of dualism.